Tristan, let's talk about the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, and the rest. They blew a 10-point lead. They lost a game last week by a toe to the Kansas City Chiefs. I was willing to give them a mulligan on that. They played a decent game last week, but today it seemed like they were kind of out of sorts, all over the place. It just didn't seem like the Ravens of old, and even the Ravens of last week. Lamar Jackson, in my opinion, didn't run enough. He looked flustered in the pocket, and it was just kind of a sloppy performance all around by the Ravens to me. So it leads me to this question to you. Are the Ravens still a playoff threat after an 0-2 start?
Things are definitely scary for Baltimore fans. I believe it's since 1990 or something, only 11% of teams that have started 0-2 went on to make the playoffs. 11%. Wow. So the odds are, I don't remember what the odds are for starting 2-0. It's like 70%. If you start 2-0, very, very good chance you're making the playoffs. If you start 0-2, very, very good chance you're not making the playoffs. It does happen. I think the Texans did it last year. But it's concerning, especially when it's against the Raiders. You know, like, as you said, you can give them the losing to the Chiefs because they looked good against the Chiefs. Obviously, they had planned all offseason. That's the difference between week 1 and week 2. Week 1, these teams are planning for that team, for months. Week 2, it's a quick turnaround. I think you said it best when you said it was sloppy. It just didn't look like the Ravens look when they're in control. Lamar only ran it 5 times for 45 yards because I said last week that running wasn't sustainable. It's not that the numbers were particularly bad. It's just blown opportunities. The Ravens missed a field goal after they got an interception from Vegas, so they didn't capitalize on it. Justin Tucker, 1 of 6 in his last 7 field goals over 50 yards. So that's something we might need to kind of start talking about. I saw Nick Wright tweeted about it during the game, and they mentioned it during the game once he missed it. That's a problem. Like, he was the best kicker in the league for a period of time. Now, if it's over 50 yards,
for a long time.
Yeah, he's going to miss it. I mean, 1 of 6 over 50 yards. That's not good. So they failed to capitalize off an interception. Then Lamar threw an interception after their defense forced a stop. That led to a Las Vegas touchdown. Baltimore was leading by 10 points in the fourth quarter. They had the game. All they had to do was control the clock. Maybe get a field goal. They would have won. Back-to-back 3-and-outs in the fourth quarter is basically what gave the game away. Las Vegas got points on all of their final 4 drives, and Max Crosby took the game over. That's really what happened. It's Baltimore failed to execute, and as the game got closer and closer and Las Vegas got more fired up, they were executing, and the Ravens weren't. And that's a problem. Execution. Can you execute in these big moments? That's been the question about Lamar and the Ravens. When you're in a tight game, when you get behind, can you go out there and make a win happen? And he does struggle to do that.
He does. And look, I still think they have a problem in the backfield with Derrick Henry. I don't think they're quite utilizing him enough. He got 18 carries up from 13 last week. I think he turned those into about 80 yards or so. So, I mean, not a stellar performance by Derrick Henry. I know he's getting older, but I still think he has a lot of gas in the tank. But I think it really boils down to this offensive line. We're starting to see the youth come out in it. And I think that's what's really limiting Lamar from, analyzing the field, taking longer in the pocket. And also, when you have a bad pocket, people don't realize this. When you have a bad pocket or a bad line, your rushing actually doesn't always go up. People think that, like, if your line's bad, you can just scramble out and run. No, for you to be able to run, you have to still have a decent line.
Well, of course, you have to push the defense back.
Yeah, it's not like you have a terrible line and Lamar can just put it on his shoulders and run. Like, if you're getting surrounded by Max Crosby and the rest, then it's going to be a bad day for you. One other thing I want to point out on the other side of the ball, I think the Raiders, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think they finished 27 rushing yards. Yeah. 27, and they won the game. It was all Davante Adams. He made some incredible catches, sideline catches, tiptoes. He made some fantastic catches that I thought that Davante Adams may not have been capable of anymore. He's getting older, But this Raiders team went above and beyond today. When the Ravens lost last week to the Chiefs, I said, okay, it's the Chiefs. But now the Raiders? But it's concerning if I'm a Baltimore fan. That's all I'm saying.
100% it's concerning. And isn't this I picked
them to go to the Super Bowl.
Right. Now, long season ahead. Isn't this a prototypical like Raiders performance though? Get it, close, stay in it. It's a dirty game, and just as it gets, it's almost like in college games when you see an upset coming, a team that shouldn't be in the game hangs around, and the further the game goes, the more they start to believe, like, hey, we can win this. We can win this. They start playing better. Crosby got after it. Brock Bowers, welcome to the NFL, good man. He had a number of big plays. Talking about sloppiness too, Baltimore, 11 penalties for 109 yards. That's 6 points right there. 100 yards. That they gave up 6 points on penalties. On the other side of the ball, the Raiders, 3 penalties for 15 yards. The Raiders were disciplined. They had a game plan, and they executed. Lamar Jackson in Baltimore had a decent game plan in the first half, but not in the second. I think you nailed it, Ryan. They have to figure out the offensive line. We talked about that in the offseason because they had 3 new starters or whatever on the offensive line. You weren't just going to plug and play and be the same as last year. I worry about that, and I am kind of worried about the offensive scheme. It just doesn't excite me. I don't see a ton of creativity. What I see as a layman, as a sports idiot bluffing my way through the football season, I see an offensive coordinator and a team that doesn't really know what they want to be offensively. And I think they need to sort that out. Whatever it is, whether it's going to work or not, they have to develop some sort of offensive identity. Maybe they're not able to do that because of the offensive line play. Maybe Derrick Henry, I don't think they're using him properly. They have to find an identity offensively, or they're not going to be a playoff threat.
I completely agree. Couldn't agree more with you. And I'll tell you this, a team that comes in to Baltimore with a questionable quarterback room and someone like Gardner Minshew, who is definitely a middle-range quarterback, lays the game on his shoulders today. They take out the rushing game. Zamir White was non-existent. They put it all downfield. They beat you at home. Baltimore, you got Dallas next week. Dallas, they're going to be pissed off because they just got their butts handed to them on a silver platter. You better get prepared.
Ryan, they've got Dallas, Buffalo, Cincinnati the next 3 games. You don't have time to play around and right the ship. You got to course correct now.
This is pulling all-nighters in the film room.
Yeah.
And you fix it, and you fix it fast.